Hey there YouTube, what's going on? I wanted to do a quick product review today before I got to work of a pencil that I use not too often, but when I'm packing light and I don't want to bring too much stuff with me. This is something that I use, and I ordered a couple of them, and I wanted to kind of show you what they are. It's pretty simple. You may have seen them before. This is the Twinpoint, and it's made by Autopoint. Autopoint is a company that's been around for a long time, since I believe they were founded in 1918, and they've been making pens and pencils for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. I remember, let me take one out to show you. You may have seen pens and pencils that look like that. They're very basic, but they've been around a long time. I remember seeing these when I was real little, and like a junk drawer at my grandparents' house. I remember seeing them, and they've been around forever. They started making them, and well, the company was founded in 1918. They started making products full scale around 1920, and then they moved to Wisconsin, I believe, in '79. So it's an American company, and basically this is, they make regular pencils, but I purchased this because it seemed kind of cool, so I wanted to just talk about it a little bit. What it is it's a mechanical pencil, and it's got two sides, twin points. It's plastic. It's got a metal clip, which helps it, not roll. And yeah, the tips right here are metal, and there's little slots kind of cut into them. You probably can't see it. I don't know if it'll focus. Yeah, it's real hard to see, but they're really fine slots, and that's what grips the lead. Like I said, a plastic barrel, and they're kind of unique. I use red and blue pencils to do my my preliminary sketches. So sometimes I'll use red to do skin tones and things like that, warm colors, and then blue to do the costumes. So this is kind of a unique solution to bring with you. If you don't want to bring, two pencils, this is kind of cuts down on that for you. Now, they don't just make the colored versions. They do make red, blue, and green. They have a green. I don't use green ever, so I didn't buy that. But I did buy this other version, which is red and a basic pencil. Now, these are mechanical pencils, and the size of this particular one, let's see, I'll show you the model number of these. This is the red and blue 201-1 Twinpoint. These are 0.9 millimeter leads. So they're a little bit thicker than your traditional lead and regular mechanical pencils. That's usually a 0.5 or a 0.7. This is a 0.9. I do believe they make a model that does come in a 0.7 or a 0.5. I'm not sure. It comes with a colored, I believe, blue or red on one side, and then you can either get the 0.9 or the 0.7. So that's an option, which is great. I mean, you can get, if you wanted to, and what I've thought about before that, what I've thought about before is basically, who cares? You don't have to put a colored lead in there. You could do a 0.9 lead and a 0.7 lead here, but the difference between a 0.9 and a 0.7 is so minimal that it wouldn't really provide too much versatility. And what if I'm on the go and I'm bringing something like this because I don't want to bring a bunch of stuff, I don't think I'm gonna really miss the 0.7 if I have the 0.9. So you could do that, but I don't know, maybe it might be useful to certain people who do very technical work. That might be an option for you. So, but instead of having red in here, I went ahead and just put the blue because I use blue more often than I use the red. So yeah, that's these pencils. Pretty cool. This is the black and red. It's called black and red, but it's upside down. But that's just graphite. It's It's just the regular pencil in red and a 0.9mm, and that's the number 200-1 twin point. And the blue and red is the number 201-1 twin point. That's 0.9mm blue and red. And they sell the leads. Now, here's the weird thing about these pens and pencils. They're short. The leads are very short. So, as you can imagine, you'll have to replace them more often. So that's kind of a downside to me. Not a huge deal, because like I said, I usually use these if I'm in a situation to where I can't bring a lot of stuff with me. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm not going to go through that much. I got 2 blues because I use those most often, 1 red and 1.9mm. Now, this is an HB. I don't use HB too often, but you can buy 0.9mm leads anywhere. You don't have to use this particular size. You just use this as a reference for how long you need to break the leads to insert them. I've purchased 0.9mm leads from Dick Blick before. I'm sure Jet Pens probably has some stuff like that. I'm sure Jet Pens probably has these. I think I purchased these from Jet Pens actually. Yeah. So Jet Pens is a cool website, but if you can find it on Amazon, it'll be cheaper. Nothing against Jet Pens, but yeah. So this looks about to be, the leads are just under 1.5 inches. So that's kind of a guide of about how long they are, and changing them, changing the lead. It gives a little description right here on the back. It's a little interesting. It's not like your normal mechanical pencil, obviously, because the leads need to be shorter because you have 2 different sides that you're using. So the way that you do that is this part just slides right off. Well, let me explain the twisting mechanism first. The way that you propel the lead is you actually twist it. And you've seen those before, I'm sure. And then it stays tight. And to retract it, you twist it the opposite direction. Now the lead's not going to go in by itself. You have to actually push it down to get it to fully retract, which is kind of, it's reminiscent. That's how a lot of old school pencils used to be. Some of the propeller, those old school walls and things like that, was the same deal. So it's kind of interesting. So that's, some people don't like that. I don't really care. Doesn't bother me. So yeah. And then the way that you replace them is that you take this out. There's this little metal plunger dealio. You twist it, I believe. It's kind of like a screw. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see. Let's see. It's a little, where's the camera? Here we go. It's a little curved. There we go. Yeah, it's got some kind of little notch thing going on here. You just take that out, you drop the lead in, and then you screw this thing back together. Just screw it back, and it'll, see, it's propelling the lead. Don't need to propel it that far. This is actually what propels it. So yeah, you propel it just a little bit, and then just kind of feed it back in there, and there's no screwing or anything. It's just push it down. I give it a little twist just to get it to sit right, and that's pretty much how you replace the leads. So again, if you can find 0.9mm blue lead anywhere, I haven't found any, I guess. Not in a 0.9. So, but I'm sure they make it. And you can use regular 0.9 graphite and just break it down to fit. And there it is. They're pretty cool. Let me, I'm going to do a quick little test of how the leads react. The pencil is a typical HB. It's nothing special. So we'll twist some of the lead out. It's a little bit thicker. I kind of like the 0.9s. If it's not an area where I have to get into too detailed, it's really good for, you know, rough sketching. So I have kind of taken to using 0.9 lead a lot. When I do my sketch card work and things like that, I'll use a smaller lead, 0.5s, even a 0.3 sometimes on facial details. All right, now let's go into the colors, which is what I'm most interested in reviewing, because not all leads are created equal. I'm used to using Coley Race pencils, if that's any gives you a frame of reference. I use those just because the lead tends to be soft. You can shade it like you would regular pencil, and it erases pretty well. Not all the way, depending on how dark of a color you're using, but pretty well. Now this is not exactly the same. Now if you look, you can go light, press hard, you can get it really dark, light again. So it's not bad, but it's a little bit more waxy than Coley Race. Not to where it's unusable, but just, you know, it is a little bit more waxy. So now let's take a look at, I should have had my eraser out, how easily it erases, because that's a big thing to me. Certain colored leads don't erase at all. So now you can see where the dark lines are and the light lines. I'm going to go across both. So you can see if you're going in really dark, which typically when I'm doing my base drawings, I'm not pressing this hard ever, because I know even with pencil you're gonna have a hard time erasing it. It doesn't really matter if it's graphite or if it's colored lead. It's gonna leave a mark like that. That's really dark, and it'll erase, but it's still there. So the blue is gonna stay. If you're going light with it, get my eraser to work. This thing's broken. I need a new one. There we go. So if you're sketching pretty light, then it's gonna, you know, it'll erase just fine. And then if you're gonna color on top of it and whatnot, you're not gonna notice it. All right, now the red, I remember thinking that I'm not gonna be using this that often, but it's been a while, and this is why. It's kind of pinkish, which a lot of red colored mechanical pencil lead is kind of pinkish. There's very few that I found that are more on the dark side. It's very bright. It's good for annotating stuff, but again, it's not red. So, but it erases just about as good as the blue. You're gonna have, I'm erasing for quite a long time. This is real cheap paper that I'm using. It doesn't, it's not gonna have any bearing on how the pencil reacts, I don't think. But there's no grit to it. It's a 50-pound, and it's the Canson XL. I think, yeah, just a Canson XL pad. It's one of the cheaper ones. It's orange. I've shown it on my other videos, so you can see how well it erases. It's not great. Neither of them are that great, but if you're working very light, you're not going to have a problem. Let me go a little lighter. I was kind of dark on those ones. So the light is pretty much gone. Again, even Coley Race still leaves some blue lines there. But after you ink and then add your marker color or watercolor or whatever you're going to do, you usually can't see it. Sometimes you get little happy accidents when you leave. When the blue's not fully erased, it adds a little bit more color to your images that you're creating, and it has, there's some unexpected things that happen that actually kind of make it look cool sometimes. Sometimes it's not. On skin tones, it's very noticeable, and it's kind of a bummer. But yeah, so I think that is all I really wanted to talk about with these. Again, plastic body, nice stiff clip, old school American company. They've been around forever. These products, well, like I said, I've seen, when I went to my grandparents' house, I remember seeing one of these pencils in a junk drawer once, so they last a long time. Very basic mechanism, nothing special. I believe these are, I can't remember because I bought these a while ago, saved the packaging so I could do a review. I want to say they were like in between $5 and $7, which is kind of expensive, but again, if they last forever, then, that's cool. And, I just got it for those times where I just didn't feel like bringing a bunch of pencils with me. But yeah, I still prefer my Kohl Erase pencils over these any day. But yeah, so that's my review. I'm not going to do really a drawing sample because it's pretty basic. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. Take it easy.